Tonight on the Holochronicles podcast, we have a special guest with us talking about how he has started from nothing. And now he's pretty far into his collection of all 96 vintage Star Wars figures. We've got the Padawan Collector, Josh.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you our new friend, Joey, the Padawan Collector.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Great to be here with you guys.
I have to say, Joey, we might have to label as handsomest guest.
And you know what? I have background envy right now because look at your guys' backgrounds and look at mine. Mine is like, it's gonna get there soon.
No,
I'm getting my display. I'm getting my game on. Mine's gonna be like yours pretty soon.
You can't start the background until you get to 96. That's
what I'm
the
saying.
rule. That's the rule.
And there's no going back. Like when I started this collection, I did think about what am I getting myself into, but there's no going back. But I'm having a ball. I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
So our friend John, Super Awesome Geek Show, posted a tweet about, hey. And then he posted in a collector chat that we're also in together. He's like, hey, you guys need to check this guy out. He's starting, from zero and he wants to get all 96. And he's putting it on video and he's got his own YouTube channel. Go check him out. He seems like a good dude. So based off of John's, his promotion, we went and watched a couple of your videos. And they're like, yeah, we need to take this guy for reals. He's got a legit camera. He sounds good. He's got rules. Like this is our kind of, I won't want to speak for you, Josh. Like, this is my kind of collector here. So I love the fact that you've got spreadsheets and all that.
That was the base. That was before I started collecting. I did that spreadsheet first, right? And it started out with just, mine's the 96, but with the variants that I have, it turns out to be, I think 107. Because I have the two Hans in there, the two Jawas, the Snaggletooths in there. I don't have them yet, but in my spreadsheet.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. I was like, oh, do you?
No. We'll get into that. Because I'm probably gonna ask some questions of like, what would you pay for us? I will ask you guys that.
No problem.
You'll get answers.
Joey, I wanted to, before I get to your first question, we need to shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to those listening on the rewind. I hope you guys enjoy this because as we were kind of talking before the show, Star Wars collectors at some point have all been in your shoes, Joey. Like, all right, maybe you have some stuff from when you were a kid. Maybe you don't, but you always wished you would have. And now that you're older and you've got a little disposable income,
that's it right there.
You kind of will go back and get those highlights from your youth. And so, before we get to that, chat, great to see you as always, patrons.
Let's do the biz. Thank you so much for showing up and following us and watching tonight. I have to personally throw a special shout out to Nick Milkey for covering last week for me, more than a capable guest host from Podcast of the Wills. He stepped in. I had a family issue I had to go deal with, and it's always nice to know that you're in good hands. So thank you to Nick from Podcast of the Wills. Go check them out. That you can find them on all the major podcast platforms and on YouTube. And you can find us there too. Where can they find us, Andy? They can find us on Twitter
at Holochronicles in everywhere.
At Holochronicles on YouTube, at Holochronicles, pretty much. Discord, we got the new Discord up and running. And by the way, we've opened that up to the public, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
We have. So you can join us. We've got some good conversation going on in there right now.
Yeah, we've got different, threads of conversation. You can talk about what the latest things you've gotten in your collection are. Some cosplay for those that do that. Upcoming Star Wars TV shows or movies that there's some buzz about, and then we've got some things like real life.
Real life stuff.
IRL.
IRL, in real life. But yeah, you can find us on Patreon as well if you want to join a growing group of, a growing community of collectors like yourself. And what does it take?
For the price of one cheeseburger a month.
Cheeseburger a month. You can hop on with the Holochronicles. I'm excited, super excited. We haven't had a lot of action there yet, but I know that I'm holding some stuff back. I've actually got a couple bins of stuff that I'm prepared to throw up on the buy-sell trade.
That'll be fun.
And make some deals for the people that follow us closest. And those are our patrons. So thank you so much. Yeah, so let's take it away there, Andy. There's
Joey,
Biz.
my first question for you is why start now? Why start now?
Well, I was actually moving. So I used to live in downtown San Diego, and during the pandemic, it's not really much fun living inside a high-rise apartment when everything's closed down. I felt like I was in a little hamster cage. So I moved out, to northern San Diego, to the suburbs. And in the process, I had storage units and, my own stuff in the closet and stuff like that. So when I moved to my new place, a little bit more room, and I started digging through all my stuff, right? I have a lot of new modern Star Wars collection stuff, like from episode 1 on, some Black Series stuff.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but I find some pieces I like it. But what I also uncovered was all my childhood stuff. And that is not a lot, right? Maybe 20 figures tops, and they're all beaters, right? But the ones that I did, if you watch episode 1, I did pull out 5 that were complete. Yeah. And they look pretty good. So I pulled out those 5, and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to complete the run, not knowing how many figures there were, right? Like Prune Face, never knew that dude existed until I started doing this whole research thing, right? Of what it actually was going to take for me to do this. And the more and more I started doing it, the more research I started watching, and then, going down that YouTube rabbit hole of seeing other collectors, like it kind of built that fire in me. And the one thing that I did watch on YouTube or search for, I was always looking for somebody that had a collection that they started from scratch, and to see how they did it, right? To see what pit holes, or just to see the drama. And I couldn't find that, man. I really couldn't find that. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to document it. I don't care if one person watches it. I just want to document it so that way I can kind of have fun and keep myself accountable. It was really to keep myself accountable, right? Because if I knew that I was documenting it and I knew I was putting it out into the world, I had to do it right. I had to take it seriously, and I had to have some fun too, right? So that's the reason why I really did it, was one, to really start what I finished, kind of Yoda, like, will he finish what he begins? Yeah, I have to now. and the second thing was that I kind of wanted to document it for like other collectors or just people in general, just to say, hey, this guy did it, watch it. He might make some mistakes, but who cares, right? And there might be some like treasures or like, the big moments. Like, I don't know if you saw the episodes, but when I got a Jabba, the playset, I used to have that when I was a kid. And the real reaction that I had was, oh my God, I hadn't touched this thing in 35 years. I was genuinely stoked, just to get that thing back and to hold it and play with it and touch it again. It's like super memories just like flood through your brain, like me being like 6 years old in my grandma's living room and I'm popping that thing open. It's just, that's kind of why I do it too, is for the nostalgia factor. And if this is my midlife crisis, then it's a good one,
Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah.
So then you call yourself the Padawan collector, like the youngster in the collector community, and I appreciate that, because there is a lot to learn. Even if you just decide to collect like the first 12, like there's a lot in that first 12 to know when you go to purchase, or things to look out for, or is this a good deal, or is this a real weapon, or is it reproduction? I mean, you can really get into the weeds pretty quickly on things with just a little bit of research. And I wanted to ask you, like, what are you using as a guide, right? If you're the Padawan, what is your master teaching you? how to collect, right? Well, what's been your best resource so far?
I mean, honestly, the best resources that I have had is really the community, mostly on Facebook, right? So I didn't really start feeling confident until I went on the Facebook groups and I saw that it was okay to ask questions, right? Because just imagine that you're the new guy in the room, and there's all these collectors that are showing off their collections, and you feel like the freshman, right? Like you're showing up at a new campus, you don't know anybody, you don't know what the heck you're doing, you don't know your way to class, and all of a sudden there's all these people who have their inside jokes, and they have like their shiny Letterman jackets and stuff like that, and like and you're walking in and you're
and
not
their varsity
dressed.
patch.
You totally, man. It's like exactly that. So I was a lurker for a long time, and I was getting the lingo down. Like I had no idea what MOC was. I had no idea what IS, like in search of. I did an episode on that where I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what
NFS.
Yeah. Like even like near mint, like NM. I had no idea what that meant. So, so me just lurking there, seeing the conversations and seeing other people like seasoned collectors that were asking questions, like genuine questions, like what weapon goes with what character, but like the subtleties of those questions, that's what really got me into collecting, because, if I was to know everything going in, I don't think I would be that stoked on collecting, right? It's all the new stuff that you pick up, like, the weapons, the details in the weapons. Like I think we were talking about earlier, the catalogs that go inside the boxes, which one came with what box, that stuff to me is, I mean, I geek out on that stuff, right? That's kind of why I made that spreadsheet. Cause like, I really geeked out and I really wanted to focus on, exactly what I wanted, how many I needed. But to answer your questions, I think the best resource was the Facebook groups, because then they turned me on to a bunch of YouTube channels, that I watch now. And then, the Imperial Gunnery, there's a couple that I'm forgetting right now, but Variant Villain, things like that. Just going on there and researching that. But I know there's more to learn. And then there's more resources out there too that I haven't discovered yet.
So let me ask you this, because actually, Andy and I have told this story a couple times, through the inception of our show here, about how we got started. Andy and I met through through a couple connections. And my question would be, because I remember my first purchase, like where I was purchasing as a collector, no longer acquiring things as a guy who likes Star Wars, but saying like, oh, I'm going to buy this to build my collection. What was your first, what was your first, and especially with the spreadsheet. Now I wasn't as cool as the spreadsheet. Andy was a little better at that. And he's talked about, from our collector tips, building lists, making goals, those kind of things, especially if you're budgeting, and by the way, if you become a serious collector of Star Wars, a budget is serious, but also going to get blown time and time again, like the Death Star. You need to kind of go for a DS2 type of budget and hope that blows up right at the end. But yeah, so that's my question to you would be like, what was your first, intentional collector purchase as you were going forward with your show and with your commitment to collect?
So in this run, in this new run. So in this new run,
Sorry, you were asking me.
Yeah. So,
no, well, whenever. I mean, I guess I'm asking when you first kind of started. Maybe you kind of did the show after you really got into it. But like, what was your first?
No.
And then what's your new run too? I don't.
So this run, I hadn't collected anything before. The last thing that I purchased was from the Kenner series, so the 1977-85. It was probably in college. Because no.
Okay.
No. It was 2019, and I was at dinner somewhere, and I talk about this in the show. I was at dinner somewhere, and I just happened to pass a comic book store, and I saw a mint on card Gamorrean Guard, and I had never seen in person one of those things for sale. Right? Like even in my local comic book shops, the ones that I go into, they usually just had the loose figures. And this is the first time I saw mint on card, right? So I went and I bought it for like $50 at that time. It you know, the bubble was okay. It had veins in it.
Sure.
At the time, I thought, oh my God, I can sell this for $1,000, you know? because
classic, by the way, a very classic move. That's
yes. I was like, $50, this is a bargain, you know? So I bought it for $50. You know, now it's probably worth $50. Who knows?
Right.
I don't know what it's worth.
It's worth more in your heart.
Yeah. So that was the last thing that I bought. Before that, it was probably in college, right? Like a vintage figure.
That's cool. Awesome.
Other than that, like, you know, people give it to me for Christmas. Like I asked my sister, she asked me like, what do you want? And I said, well, give me the Emperor, I think was the last thing I asked for. And that was probably like 4 years ago. So she got me that. But on this run, the first thing that I bought was, let me see, I have it right here. It's the AT-AT driver. Cause I always thought that character was cool.
Yeah.
I love Empire figures. And then like stormtroopers, you know, I never had a stormtrooper when I was a kid, so I still have to buy that one. But I wanted an AT-AT driver, so that's why in the show you see that I buy a loose one, and I went ahead and bought a graded one just because I'm so stoked on that character that if I ever had a figure focus, it would either be the AT-AT driver or it would be, you know, the TIE fighter, because those two are
really?
yeah.
How about Veers? You throw Veers in there too? I mean, you get a little Veers action.
I like the uniforms. Anything Empire. I like the uniforms. Right. Yeah. And I do call them Veers. I don't call them AT-AT Commander. I call them Veers.
Veers.
So, yeah.
Well, it just so happens that Josh has his first adult purchase.
What?
As Star Wars is concerned.
Easy.
Yeah, Star Wars is concerned. Josh, why don't you show them and tell the story behind it?
So this was, I love that question. Good setup. But this is my first collector purchase, and this this is actually long before. This is when I'm 19, 20 years old. Like Andy said, we've got money coming in. You can buy gas, you can buy food, you can buy beer, or you can buy a Star Wars collectible. And so I bought gas, and I bought beer, and I bought food, and I had $40 left over. And I bought this, not mint on card. This would be shit on card. I think would be the term you'd use, but it's an actual Vader in a card, and it was $30. And just like you, I stopped by a local comic book shop and was just checking it out because I had money in my pocket, and it still has the 97 cents from Toys R Us, price tag on it. And I stopped by a shop, and there it was. And I was like, dude, I had all the loose, well, I didn't have all. I had whatever mom and dad had salvaged, or I had, taken. We moved a lot, so that stuff just got left behind, right? So I went in, I bought it, and I took it home, and I didn't know what the hell to do with it. I put it on a shelf, and then I reclaimed it later after I moved out of the house, and I came back, and they had this bin full of my stuff, and I pulled out Vader, and I was like, oh man, you're more beat up than I remember, and I kept him. So that's my special spot right there. Is
Scuba Pete says SOC.
Yeah, maybe.
Shit on card is correct.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna make a new category in my collection. SOC. I can afford that.
You can put it on your spreadsheet, man,
dude,
because you'll be able to find those all over the place in SOC. So yeah,
I'm gonna focus on SOCs then. There it is.
That's so good. It's again. A journey of 96 starts with one, right? So everybody starts with one, and so in your first video, you say that you have some from your youth, right, and that they're beaters. We don't call them beaters, Joey. We call them loved, right? They're well played with. They've got paint missing, probably missing some accessories.
Joey's from San Diego, though, so. He's maybe dating a gal. You can call them beaters, right?
Yeah, sure. These old things. Yeah, these old things here. But so have you kept all of those, or have you swapped them out? What are you doing with those?
All right. So I have a new plan, right? So on my first episode, if they weren't complete, I pretty much put them to the side, and I said, I'll never put these in my collection, but I'll display them as a childhood set, right? But as I'm collecting, I said, all right, the ones I'm buying, they're actually gradable. The ones that I'm buying now, right? I'm buying, a lot of pieces that are near mint, ones that are actually gradable that I've taken in and gotten assessed, and they're like, yeah, you can actually grade this, and here's a pre-grade. So I'm thinking, well, I can really grade those, but I want to get a display. So I'm gonna resurrect some of those old ones and just find some weapons for them. Some like I have an Akbar that's in great condition. All it needs is a staff.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm gonna go on a weapons lot and see if I can get a staff for Akbar and bring him back. Yeah.
Okay. Is the plan to take all of the new ones and get them graded, or are you going to get a separate graded?
Well, so it's like I'm doing an episode right now called The Rule of Two.
Okay.
Right. So
96 means nothing.
So if you watch my episodes, if you watch my episodes, the real number is 324.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Something like
After
that, right?
all is said and done, the real all the pieces of my collection are 324, I think. But my first run, the one that I'm doing in this video series, it's the loose and it's all the graded. Right. So I'm doing like a 2-set. My first journey, my first milestone is going to be all the loose 107 I have to collect, right? That includes all the variants. And then the second one that I'm working on at the same time is to get everything graded, right? So if I find something that's, a beater with a weapon, I'm going to put it in my loose collection, but then I'm going to be on the hunt for a mint version that I can get graded, or that I can get a great deal and buy graded already. I'll put it in there. But that's the goal right now, is to get all the loose ones first. And then if I find something that's mint, I'm going to get that graded and put it in the graded collection. But yeah, it's 96 of the graded and it's 107 of the loose
with variants, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So awesome. Where are you at? I guess, not to hit it too early, but where are you at in your journey?
Right now I'm 32 out of 107.
Okay.
Just for the loose, and for the graded, I think I have one that's graded right now in my possession, and I just sent off 4 to get graded. And I didn't know this, right? And I talk about it in one of my episodes. I didn't know that it took 6 months to get something back from, I don't want to mention the company I sent it off to, but it takes 6 months, man. I was like, all right, I was stoked on it. I bought it. And then all of a sudden they take it away from me. And I'm like, oh, I'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah, it's like sending your kid off to college.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Are you going AFA or CAS?
It's okay to mention the name. It's all right. No, because it's a common experience. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's
because we had our buddy. Gosh, I can't. Paul. Thank you. Pete was in my head, and I knew that was wrong. So yeah, Paul. He's experienced this too. Like, he sends them off. He knows they're gone for a while. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like, as a collector, especially when you kind of get into the weeds real deep and you have lots of stuff, when you send a couple things off, and it's almost like a rebirth for you. They come back in the mail and you're excited again.
Right,
You're more excited than when you purchase them. And so I would say, I don't think you're disparaging any grading company by mentioning their names for the time that it takes for them to grade. Let's be honest, there's...
Well, and through the pandemic, all grading companies, whether it's cards, comics, or collectibles like figures, like the wait time has just multiplied because people have been sitting around. Maybe they've still got some income coming in. And so what do? Well, okay, maybe I'll send something in and get it graded. And everybody's doing that, to the point where AFA... I think right now they're only doing vintage Star Wars. They've just said, we're not going to do other stuff right now. We're just kind of focused on this because they've gotten so much business, and to keep turnaround time like less than a year. Yeah. So it's a common problem in a lot of different collectible areas right now. So it's.
But to your point, something like, you send away your baby that you just bought, because you're like, this is cool, pretty.
Well, yeah, and there were some figures, like I just bought a Dianoga trash monster, right? And I never knew it existed until I was researching my run. And when I found out that he existed or it existed, you know, it's not a figure, right? It didn't come carded, but I had to include it because I was just so stoked that it was out there. So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy one and I'm going to grade one. So I didn't want to get one that was all beat up. I really wanted to get one to grade it.
And now, Joey, do you know about the Dianoga acrylic display stand?
I know how much it costs too. I looked it up on eBay. It was $13. I was like, do I want to buy one for
from Australia
bucks?
or something?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So
I have a Dianoga acrylic display stand. It's the stupidest thing to put that flying green thing. It just doesn't look like nothing from the movie, right? Because it was brown in the movie, and then it's green,
a red eyeball.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
yeah, and that's why in my episode I put a clip from the movie just to give people, because I think the one thing that I want to do is not only have, you know, really experienced collectors watch my show, but to have people who maybe not be interested in all this stuff watch it. And I want to give them context of what I'm collecting. So I put a little movie clip of a Dianoga trash monster. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and somebody told me, well, I'm glad you did that because I wouldn't have known where that thing came from, you know? So it's good to have like complete context, because I have to watch it from two sides, right? I have to watch it from the seasoned collector's eye, but then I have to watch it as somebody who really wants to just be entertained and wants to watch and learn from this. So it's kind of like, you know, two things.
Well, you talked about that about Snaggle in your first episode. You talked about like they got like a black and white, like, you know, rendering of the character they were supposed to make, and they screwed up, right? They made the wrong guy because that's all they had. They made colors up, they made everything up, and then that's why we have blue and red Snaggle, right?
And I wouldn't have known that unless I did some research on it to really figure out, well, why do I want to collect this, right? Yeah. Is it something that's worth it? And when I found out that it wasn't even, was it carded? Was that figure carded ever?
No, blue was never carded.
Blue was Blue came in a playset, and I wanted to ask you about that too, because you know, for a lot of collectors, myself included, I acquired many of my figures by purchasing lots from people. So like a group of, you know, 20, 30, maybe even 40 figures at a time. And then from that, I'd keep the ones that I need, and then I'd sell the ones that I didn't and try and get, you know, earn it back. And so I could put that money back into, you know, or maybe even make a couple bucks from it and then use that to get my next, you know, figures. Have you done that? Have you gotten groups of figures and done that? Or has it all kind of been like step by step, one figure at a time? Because I would encourage you, if you can find a lot that has some maybe high quality to it, you can get better deals that way, but you're also having to put up with more and maybe things that you've already gotten. How's that going for you?
Yeah, that's interesting because I was considering doing that, right? But it's a lot of what you're saying. That means I have to have like 5 Chewies, and you know, what do I do with 5 Chewies? Or what do I do with, you know, a bunch of weapons that I don't need? You know, do I trade for them? And how much time do I have in my hands to do that? So yeah, I actually am considering that, because you're right. I am going to save a lot of money in the long run, and I could probably trade a lot of those things for things that I actually need. So that's
I think your solution is in what you already mentioned, which is community. Because that's what we did. We formed this little mini collector group of 4 or 5 guys, and
in our area,
local, you know, community. And that was far before we did a pod and all this stuff. But we just knew that there were certain characters that were $5, $10.
Right.
That's just what they were. So when Andy or Andy and I would buy a lot, we go, hey guys, we just send them out to the group, which I think in your, like you already mentioned, this would be something you could do to a larger group, like a Facebook group, and go, hey, I got these items. I targeted what I wanted. You know, you don't have to explain this, but this is your thought process. I targeted what I wanted. I got it out of this lot. And if I sell these for $5, $10, I can either break even or make a couple bucks. And it's not even about breaking even. Like what Andy's describing is you buy the lot for the figure or the vehicle or whatever item. And then the rest is kind of like you can break even on unloading that at really low. Like we have figures. I mean, we're trading Boba Fett's for $5 and $10. That's what we were doing
at that time.
Sans weapon.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what we were doing. Like, hey, I got this nice, and you go, oh, my Boba Fett's not as nice as that. And then you just swap out and you go, all right, I'll sell this one for $5 to the next collector, you know? And it's an interesting kind of shuffle, I guess would be the best term for that.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm really looking at because, you know, I think we were talking about budget earlier, and it's real. This stuff burns a hole in your pocket really quick.
Fast.
Right. Yeah. Fast. And, you know, lucky I was doing a lot of research on prices before, and I was like, all right, it's actually, and I kind of priced it out, you know, because what are the big ticket items in a collection, right? There's like the vinyl Jawa.
There's Vinyl's big.
There's the last 17, which I haven't even touched yet.
They're big.
They're big, you know, except for like Anakin probably.
Yeah, Anakin's easy.
Yeah. So he's probably the first one I'm going to pick up.
Yeah,
right. But then there's what Snaggletooth, you know, like Yak Face last 17. But yeah, those things. And those things are probably things that I've already been talking to with dealers here in town, because you know, things like that don't really come into a shop. And if they do, they're gone really quick because somebody knows that they're coming in, or somebody knows that a lot's being sold in there.
Yeah.
And a toy dealer, a vintage toy dealer, he's going to mark it up, right? He's going to, because he has to make a profit off of it. So you're paying like top market value.
Yeah.
In those situations. So yeah, it's like to offset some of those things, because for me to buy a vinyl Cape Jawa loose, I'm going to have to know it's not even reproduction, right? Because my rules are I can't introduce reproduction in this run. Right. There might be like sometime down the road where, you know, I'll do some things that I think are cool reproduction, but as of this run, I cannot do it. Right.
Right.
Repro has a fully disclosed place in your collection, as long as you know it's repro.
Yeah.
You know, so that's right, Andy.
Yeah, repro has its purposes. For what you're trying to do, no.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna make a diorama and do some army building, I'm doing repro all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm buying like a lot of like 25 stormtroopers. That's all repro.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as weapons go, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like the figures. Like I'll probably do like an army of stormtroopers, you know, like that maybe, you know. But right now in this collection, it's all
original.
They're all original. Yeah.
I will say with repro, with stormtroopers, you can probably avoid repro with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide.
Wait, hold on. So I have a question for you. And this is something that so let's just say, like, you know, when I do get a stormtrooper and it's yellow, if I get that thing peroxided, I can't grade that thing, right? They'll reject it.
Well, here's the thing with the peroxide. In my experience, because I've done it to a number of figures, and not just stormtroopers, but it works. First of all, it works. You dunk them in a glass or a container that can let light in, and you seal it and you stick it out in sunlight for a day. If it's really sunny out, you know, like it is in San Diego, and it might only take a day, and it's bright white like it was right off the assembly, assembly room floor. The thing is, though, if it's in a place where it gets sun, it will turn back yellow, and it will do it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if I would really try to avoid probably peroxiding something that you want to get graded, just because it might be on display. And if it's catching any UV rays at all, you'll have a nice graded yellow stormtrooper, which defeats the purpose of having it graded. So if you can find one natural, I mean, that would be the best route, I would.
Well, and who knows where they keep those stormtroopers for the 6 months that they have them.
It's true.
And one more question that I have. Sorry that I'm taking up the airtime of me.
No. This is why you're here.
All right.
It's a fascinating experience. Yeah.
The big question I have is, so let's just say I have, like, let's just use Hoth Leia, right? And she comes with her blue black blaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it was from the Empire Strikes Back Leia, like the card one, and I have her loose, and then do I need to grade her with the gun that she came on in that bubble? Or let's just say when she was re-released in Return of the Jedi, she might have come with the black blaster or whatever it was, you know? So my question is like, no matter what character it is, whether it's, you know, not IG-88, but 21B, I know there's different staffs for him from like Smile or, you know, whatever it was. Do I have to have, like, let's just say it's a Hong Kong version. Do I have to have the weapon that goes with that Hong Kong carded version? Or can I send in to get graded with something else like a cater, and will they reject it or will they grade it?
So here's my best answer for that. There's only really a few specific, like, for example, the Star Wars Leia, you know, typically like the real legit ones have she has a black blaster for that one. Okay. They're not easy to find, but if you're going to get a Star Wars Leia graded, I would try and get it with the black blaster. Now, the blue versus blue black, you know, I wouldn't worry so much about that unless you know for sure, or if you, and all you'd have to do is like Google image a picture of one on the card, and you can probably tell if it's a blue one or if it's a blue black one.
Right.
So, if possible, yeah, try and match it as best as you can.
I guess the question would be, what's that worth? What's that worth as far as the price you'd pay to get the exact blaster, and how much would that affect the grading? Now, you have to assume that the people that are grading are able to connect a couple dots, because that's what their job is, right?
So if you send in, like, I'm just trying to think of instances where it would matter. And for example, an Imperial Gunner, one of the last 17, has an Endor. It comes with a black Endor blaster. But if you sent it in
E11 or what's the blaster?
The Endor blaster.
The Endor. Oh, the gun.
No, it's a little pistol. It's a little tiny one. The B-wing pilot also has one.
Okay, yeah.
So if you sent a blue one in with the Imperial Gunner that's supposed to have a black one, they would not.
Right.
They wouldn't.
Right.
They'd be like, "This is the wrong weapon for it."
Okay.
And they'd probably send it back. Now, if you had a Boba Fett or a Chewbacca, Chewbacca came with a blackish one, a blue one, and even kind of a greenish blue one, depending on which version you got. With that one, I think you could send in any of those three with Chewie, and they would grade it for you, because I don't think, because it came with those different versions, it would be okay. All right.
So now, what about the green arm Chewie? Green limbed Chewie.
Green limbed Chewie, I think, also came with the different versions. So there are going to be some situations, but there's not many. The good news is there's not many, and I could probably list them out if you gave me like 3 minutes, but I don't want to do that right now.
But those are the nuances. Like, really, those are the nuances that I was kind of interested in. You know.
Yeah.
Because
maybe I'll put together a list for you then. I don't know.
A spreadsheet.
Put together I'm down with spreadsheets, and I'm down with spreadsheets.
Yeah. Andy's a pen and paper guy.
Yeah, no, people have asked for my spreadsheet.
Look at it. Look at Andy's right there.
Spreadsheet.
Pen and paper all day long.
I get made. I'm a teacher by trade, and I get made fun of because I don't type my notes down. I write my notes down. So I mean, like,
he likes a tactile experience.
Those younger teachers think I'm the old guy because I like to write everything, and I kind of am, but whatever. Next, I've got a question from one of our patrons.
Cool.
Okay, this is from our buddy Gary. And Gary's not watching right now, and he sends his apologies ahead of time because he's back visiting his family in the UK.
Gary, you are forgiven.
It's like 3 a.m. right now in the UK, so he's going to catch this on the rewind. But his question to you, Joey, was, here's a question for Joey. How do we help you out? I have a few spare near mint figures that need a home, along with some Ewok weapons and accessories. I'm on a similar journey and will definitely be subbing to the channel. Also, I need one of those display cabinets. So can we link the seller to pick up one of those? I'm in the UK, so I'll watch this on the rewind.
Oh man, like, first of all, the display case, and thanks Gary. That was great questions. The display case, if you contact Drew Tagg on collector displays, man. So there's one thing when you buy something from somebody that's good quality, but then like when you realize that the dude that's selling it to you is like a solid person, like that makes it even better, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So when I contacted Drew,
how do you spell Drew Tag?
Tag. So it's Drew, Drew, Tag, Tegg, Tag. Great guy. And you can go on collector displays on Facebook, and he has a Facebook page right there. But I mean, his work is quality. That was exactly what I was looking for. And yeah, so he sells it out of the UK, and I'm only his second international customer here in the United States. So I was like the guinea pig for everybody.
Nice.
Apart from the person that bought it before me. Like I watched the guy that he sold it to because he was posting on Facebook. So I was watching how that went down, making sure that he was cool with it. You know, I saw the guy building it and setting it up, and I was like, wow, that's fantastic. That's pretty cool. So, you know, contacted Drew after that. And the second question that I had was like, will I get killed in international shipping? And the answer is no.
Not
so
too, yeah, it depends on the
price,
right?
Yeah, it's and you know there were so you know I didn't pay any like docking fees or shipping fees or like anything like that where they had to when you pay like the extra fees at the dock. There was like none of that.
That's good.
They delivered it here straight from DSL, so that was good.
That is good.
But yeah, if you want to get a hold of Drew Tag, he's on most of the Facebook groups too.
I threw it down below just off your description, so hopefully that
cool.
makes sense.
yeah, that's perfect. And then
that's on Facebook, right?
And then the other.
So his first question, like how do we help out? How can Gary help you out? How can we help you out with this?
Man,
is it public to see your forms? Not Google Forms, but your spreadsheet?
Yeah.
I was gonna post it on my social media channels, like the empty versions of them where anybody can go and manipulate them if they want, which I don't care. Like you guys can have it. And somebody was saying, no, don't release that. You worked really hard on it.
Well, I mean, there's a bit of, a bit of insight there. I mean, you've got a good product. If you get a product that you've worked hard on, I mean, throw it out there. Let somebody pay $5 to download your sheets blank, like you said, and start checking the boxes. I mean, I know I subscribe to one of the ones that's 411 or Action Figures 411. Yep. I mean, that helped me tremendously with Black Series. Like I was like you, I didn't know. I'm like, what are these guys worth? Where are they coming from? And Action Figures 411, they take cross samples of eBay selling prices and kind of tell you an estimated value of each figure, which, eBay may not be the best.
That's one way.
It's one way. Right. The other way is obviously, like is Facebook groups.
Yeah.
You're going to find those figures for less from people that know that they can knock off 20, 30% from an eBay price because that's what they pay eBay.
Right.
And so why not pass that on to somebody else in the form of savings, $5 shipping, $10 shipping. So I think that's a viable avenue. I mean, you might have a product here. I actually would be interested in somebody that's put the effort and the time into what maybe I may intuitively know in my head, but can't keep track of, even though I think I can because I'm old. And it just, starts to get jumbled. And I'm like, where the hell?
Write it down.
Honestly, Andy is my walking spreadsheet. I'm like, Andy, what? He's got, dude, you're missing this. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So.
There have been times where I've thought I've known your collection better than you.
What? You mean every time?
If I hadn't made that spreadsheet, like when you get boxes coming in and you get orders coming in and, you forget how much you paid for something, just because what I have on my spreadsheet is obviously like the checklist, right? I have everything listed out so I know what I have to get. And when I get it, I put that green square in there, but I also mark down how much I paid for it with the shipping and taxes included. And I've also been putting where I bought it from. So that way there's one sheet that I use for shooting because I don't want to put people's names down there.
Sure.
I'll put like I bought it from eBay and I'll put the seller. The same thing for Facebook or if I buy it from a toy shop, I'll put exactly the names who sold it to me. That way I can go back if there's anything wrong with it or something happens or I have a question or I want to go back and buy something from that seller again. I know where I got it from. So my shooting thing that I have on there is like I just take the names off and like phone numbers in case I want to put phone numbers off. But I've considered turning into an app and just doing that out there too.
Yeah, an app, or even just there's plenty of resources where you can provide a data sheet or a spreadsheet or a PDF or whatever, and just even Pinterest will let you put something up there for $5 or $10 and say, download this, give me some money, you have access. But not that you have to get the money. I get that, but I know that's a big help for a guy like me. A guy like Andy, it might be different. It just might, because he's a little more organized like you. And if you're talking to, as a Padawan collector, if you're talking to people that are trying to get started, look, we have people in the chat right now, huge Star Wars fans, way more knowledge in Star Wars than I have, at least, right? But maybe their collecting isn't directly their conduit for experiencing Star Wars, but they like to hear about it. It could be a good starting place, especially someone like our age that has decided. We decided 4 years ago. Andy and I decided 4 years ago. We're like, all right, let's hit this hard. And sold a big GI Joe collection to kind of kickstart his Star Wars collection, and I never would have done it without the community. Starting with Andy, I just never would have. It would have been this piecemeal. I walked by something, liked it, bought it, kind of like the comic book story you and I both share. So I think that you might have something there to really help somebody that's, and I think the price sheet would be important too. I think sharing, especially as a benchmark here in 2021, as kind of like, here are the prices in 2021. You could go back to your page 4 years from now. Holy crap, I got a vintage vinyl for $1,500.
Well,
that's worth,
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I did it that way too, because I didn't decide to document it on YouTube until I started making the spreadsheet, right? And I was like, well, shoot, like I'm not finding any content like this on YouTube. So I decided, when I was doing the research and making the spreadsheet, I was like, all right, here's my rules for collecting, but also here's my rules for shooting the show, right?
Right.
And I knew I had to have the spreadsheet as like a visual guide for the audience to say, it's kind of like when you're reading Lord of the Rings and, you see that map, or, The Hobbit, and you see the map of where they're,
exactly.
where they're going.
Yeah, that's how my brain works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like that. It's like, I want them to trek through Mordor with me and mark off the places I've been, and kind of say, well, I can see visually that Joey doesn't have any of the 17. I feel bad for him. Or that, he's making some progress. And look at that. It looks like a game of Connect 4. Like he's connecting all the dots. It's rad.
By the way, this last 17 is like Eagles Roost. All right. That's like that. Like out of nowhere, you get the last 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I go to the last 17 and I make my way back to Yak Face, or not Yak Face, to a Vinyl Jawa, and then a Blue Snaggy. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. But also what I wanted to do, what you're saying, is I wanted to document for the audience how much I'm paying for stuff, because really I was hoping that people would call me out and say, dude, you overpaid $100 for something. You know what I mean? And like, I really need that feedback. And I kind of want that, let's be honest, when you're making a show, you kind of want to find the drama in things. Like there's no drama in buying a figure, but in my show there is. It's like, I tell you what I went through. I show you how I got that figure, how I was comparing it, and there's some times where, luckily this hasn't happened, but like, and I keep it off the air, of people trying to kind of sell me things that have, a repro stamp on it. And they're saying, yeah, this is real. Trust me, it's real. But, I kind of don't answer them back. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's the pitfall of being labeled as the Padawan collector, is that, you're you're blood in the water, brother. Like, let me tell you, I've had a lot of people saying, buy this stuff, here's the price I want to sell it to you for. And you look it up and it's like, $20, $30, $100 over what you're supposed to be paying for it,
So have you had any bad deals? Like what's the...
No.
So far, so good?
So far, so good. I mean, bad deals that I've made and I've probably overpaid. Yeah. But somebody trying to hose me, I catch it pretty early. And, I'll ask people now before I buy.
I think that's a good point for all like fresh starting collectors, is that your radar does go up pretty early.
Totally.
Like
it doesn't take many.
Yeah. as naive as you may feel when you first get started, and I want to say this is kind of like to relieve some people, because you could get very nervous, like, I can't buy this again. But your radar goes up pretty early when, the old saying, like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. I mean, that's really the case. If all of a sudden you see a blue snag for $200,
and it's mint,
let's talk about it.
Well, here's a teaser for an episode that I just shot.
Heard it here first on Holochronicles.
A couple days ago. All right. There is an instance on where I thought a deal was way too good to be true. And like, I want to talk to you guys about this off the air. But,
come on now. Let's get the good content. Come on.
The drama. Here's the drama.
It's like I paid half, and this is my first big ticket item that I bought.
I see.
Right. Okay. But I've been researching. I've only been collecting for 3 months, right? The show's only been like a month old. So I spent a lot of time lurking, like I said. I spent a lot of time doing the spreadsheet and planning what I was going to do for my run. And then about a month and a half ago is when I started shooting. So the shows are about 2 weeks behind of real time.
Okay.
Right? So, because, I maybe tape.
So that's really good intel for people listening right now. This is fresh. We're not talking about you've completed your journey and now we're kind of chronicling it, in reverse.
Yeah. When I say that I only have 32 out of the 107 loose figures,
that's true,
I have 32 out of the 107. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be happy
as of 2 weeks ago.
As of 2 weeks ago. But with these 2 new ones that I bought, my first big ticket items, man, it was like, when you think it's too good to be true, and then you start sending out pictures to collectors, and you're like, is this real? Is this real? They ask, make sure you take this photo. Let me see it. Let me magnify it. Yes, it's real. You should. Is it for sale? How much? They're like, buy it now. When you get like 5 people saying, buy it now.
Yeah.
Buy it now. If it's fake, sell it, and you'll probably lose $20, but
Well, Andy and I have one of those, at least, with the haul. The haul was
pretty awesome.
We paid way too little for what we got. And it was almost impossible for this guy to have faked anything out, especially when we saw it. So, I mean, that's what's kind of fun. That's what your grail as a collector is, right? Your grail is to go out and not like hose somebody. That's the second time for hose. I like that.
Well, what's your grail right now, or did you already have it?
I know my grail is different than Andy's. I know Andy's grail, and actually, I'm living vicariously through Andy's grail. I know what his grail is.
What is it?
It's DT Luke.
That's the next one on my list. So I've got
carded, right? Carded or loose?
Loose. He'll take loose.
Yeah, loose. I'm mostly a loose figure. So I've got the 96, and I've got some variants too,
and cardeds, and
I've got a few cardeds. Yeah, like 3 or 4 graded. That's not like, those are more like as I kind of came across them and I liked them, so I kept them. But yeah, the next loose figure I get, and it's going to be a little bit because it's a double telescoping Luke Skywalker. Now I will say the one prior to that was a vinyl cape Jawa.
The heavy. Okay. And he got the heavy.
And you got the that.
Heavy, and I got it from a guy in France.
Wow. Did you have it?
Sure.
So how'd you get that? Like, was it through a friend that you knew, and you knew the guy that knew the guy, or did you just go on blind faith that it was the real deal?
It originally started as an eBay auction that expired with no bids.
Okay.
And I contacted, because I had saved it, like, keep an eye on this. And it was on my watch list. And
loose or graded?
Loose.
Or same thing, but graded or
loose.
non-graded?
Yeah, it's
non-graded.
Loose, non-graded, but it's perfect, Joey. It's
like my ears just went like this when you said like you found your grail.
It's absolutely perfect. Now, I would not recommend to anybody doing it the way I did it. Like, don't go after something that you don't like. I didn't have the safety net of eBay or even PayPal.
Even
though we used PayPal, but like like, don't do it the way I did it. But I did it because there was really good communication between he and I. There was a lot of pictures sent to me. Like, I could ask for any picture and he'd send it to me like within a 24-hour period.
Like a UK newspaper where the date looked backwards and you're like, oh, this guy's sending it from the 1800s.
Yeah. So
what the hell was 31.6?
So I mean, like, if anything I was nervous about, he went beyond a shadow of a doubt to console me, right? Because he also knew that this was a little bit kind of not the normal way to do things, and so he really needed to sell it, and I really wanted to buy it. So he made it. He made it.
But here's the thing, brother. Here's the thing. That's what I dig about, you know, like I said, like, there's drama and there's a story in every figure. Like, I love that because your Grail has a story like that, you know, and like, that's what I try to bring in the show is that, you know, every figure that I get, it has a story. And, you know, every figure that everybody gets has a story, which is cool.
Well, that's Andy and I talk about that a lot. Is like, sometimes a figure, as far as it's worth, all right. So let's say that you're flexing $50 forward, $50 backwards, and you feel like, oh man, I'm paying a little too much. $100, whatever. And when you get into the higher end figs, you know, the rarer figs, now you're flexing 2 to 5, whatever. But sometimes the story actually makes up
some of that
for the monetary value.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? That's where you have to, as a collector, we love that because that's the ambiguous side of collecting where it's very fluid. It works. And like Andy and I, we drove up and met a guy in a parking lot and he opened his trunk and we bought how much?
$3,600.
Yeah, $3,600 worth of figures, and it was a drug deal.
I mean,
plastic drug deal, basically.
Awesome. And it was awesome.
And like Josh said, we paid way too little for what we got.
We paid way too little for what we got because in the end, and we've chronicled this, in the end, we kind of doubled our money on that.
Well, we kept what we wanted.
Yeah. Well, or recouped our money and kept what we wanted.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we kept what we wanted and we broke even with what we didn't want. And we kept a lot.
Like, and by the way, we were in a bidding war. There's actually there's a video of Andy shirtless.
This was like at midnight.
Did you guys post that? You guys have that on your channel?
No, we need to put it up.
You guys need to put it up. You guys need to put it up.
Did we post that? The haul? I think we posted the haul.
Yes, we did.
So it's called the haul. Now, I don't... It might be on this channel.
That would clear like 100K people watching it in a week. Seriously.
It didn't. I thought Andy being shirtless would clear 100K.
No, I think it scared people off.
But the only place that he could go was his bathroom. So it really looked like Andy was shirtless on the can. I'm like, see, that's where we couldn't clear 100K because of the whole pooping part. Yeah.
But like, these are the stories that like make collecting so much fun. I've got a graded Boba Fett that got me out of a speeding ticket.
Tell the story.
Like,
who cares anymore? We're off to the races.
Yeah.
Is that what it takes? I have to have a graded Boba Fett.
Always keep it in the console. Always keep one in the console.
Noted, man. Yeah. See, I'm learning things all the time, man. This is great. I'm learning things all the time.
Noted. Yeah. See, as a Padawan collector, you can learn some good stuff from Shirtless Andy.
Like,
I'll tell you
what was your best advice from Shirtless Andy? Keep a graded Boba Fett. That'll get you out of some tickets, brother.
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing driving so fast? Well, I was on my way. I just picked up this graded Boba Fett. Do you like Star Wars? Yeah. Like, check this thing out. And it's like, oh man, that's awesome. Hey, slow it down. Okay, thanks, sir. All right.
That's awesome.
That's the nutshell version. There's a lot more to it, and I had a buddy with me too named Trevor who was a policeman, and he might have helped.
He may have helped with that, but probably not. I think it was a graded Boba.
Yeah, I think it was mostly the Boba, and maybe a little bit of Trevor.
But
anyway, So I know we're kind of getting close on time here, but what's been so far the best deal that you've gotten or you've pulled through with?
The one that I just got.
Okay.
And
all right.
the one that I just got, like
Go.
you guys are getting scooped that right here that I just got it, because it was like one of those amazing things where it's like I know I paid half, and the figures that I got are just immaculate, and they're ones that are the most expensive ones. And I'll just say it, two of the last 17.
Oh,
and when
now
when
you're saving this for your show. I mean, can you give us one?
No, but they're two of the last 17. They're two of the last 17.
Okay.
If that,
Sweet.
yeah, I'll tease that. But it's like, just think of the ones that are the most expensive, and they're the ones that I paid half for. And that's why I sent so many like questions out to people. Is like, dude, is this legit? Check this picture out for me. Here it is.
Awesome.
And after I got like 5 people saying that yes, buy it, do it now. I did it.
So we're going to get to talk offline. I can't wait to hear it.
Absolutely.
And we won't spoil, don't worry. I was going to put up, I think it was Scuba Pete that had a good statement. And he just said, I can't find it in the chat. I was going to put it up, but he just said, there's still deals out in the wild. Just be patient.
Yeah.
Which I think is,
patience is difficult.
Yeah, that was one thing that I wasn't in the beginning, because I just wanted to buy as much as I could. That if you guys watch my episodes, I've already bought 2 repros.
On accident or on purpose?
On accident.
Okay.
On accident, because I didn't read the fine print. What I probably did was, I was researching and liking a bunch of stuff on eBay, and I probably looked at the price and didn't read the fine print and just said buy now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then,
well, and I think, Joey, this is where like a community, like I had Andy, so I would look up things on eBay, and he's and Andy, he's gonna go and research for me, even if he doesn't have the answer right away. And I'd be like, Andy, what do you think about this deal?
Yeah,
and he'd go, that's in the ballpark, or he'd go, holy crap, that's. As one I can recall right offhand would be, I got the Sandcrawler, and I paid, what was that, 3-4 years ago? Mm-hmm. I paid $600 for the Sandcrawler at the time. Had the remote, had everything.
Works.
It still works. We could put batteries in it. It'd drive around right now. But at the time, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Andy, what do you think? Because it was right at market price. And so, as a collector tip for you and for everyone watching, community is huge. And you've already expressed that, like going on lurking, and then kind of assimilating yourself into the community and saying, look, I'm buying this stuff. These people, and especially like the people we have in the chat right now, they're dying. They're tripping over themselves to help you. And so are we, for that matter,
well, and that's what, dude. And that's one thing I didn't want to be, is I didn't want to be somebody who was just saying, I just want to do it for the YouTube views. You know what I mean?
We don't feel that at all.
That was one thing where, and that's why I kind of really, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Cause it's a huge investment, brother. Like to go on this run,
thousands,
like it's a huge investment. Yep. And that's the thing where you don't do this shit. Sorry, stuff. You don't do this.
No. Remember, shit on card, SOC. We're good.
All right. You don't do this stuff if you don't like it. First of all, it's like you have to be crazy to do this, but you have to really enjoy it, man. Like you have to really enjoy this stuff. And that's what made me so into the community, that, not only like you guys, but like everybody on like Twitter or Facebook or, on YouTube too, is, especially like all the YouTube channels that I was fans of way before I even started collecting, like they're like, the one person who I really, really like, and I actually ask him questions a lot now, is the action figure grader, John Rula. Yeah, dude. I ask him questions all the freaking time. He probably gets tired of me asking him so many questions, but like people like him, but
he answers.
Yeah, dude, that's what's so cool about it. He answers.
And he's such a good resource.
Totally. And it's been like everybody like that. Like, I can name off like 20 YouTube pages of people that I know like by name. And I know that if there's a certain figure, I'm going to that person to ask about it. You know what I mean?
So if you had advice for anyone like in your position 6 months, a year ago, whenever you decided to do this, what would it be?
Man, honestly, the spreadsheet has helped me a lot. So first, like focus your collection, because you're going to spend a lot of money that you don't need to. If you don't focus your collection, I think I get more enjoyment out of it by having like a goal, right? By having like things I can check off. I think that's one of the things that's brought me the most enjoyment, is that I feel like I'm on a quest, like I feel like I'm on a quest, and I set this like path kind of like before me, and I'm like, all right, I already enjoy collecting the first couple figures, and I know it's going to get harder. But honestly, like if I didn't have that spreadsheet, I would be like, where am I going now? Like, what am I doing? It's like, and the second thing I would say is like, join as many Facebook groups as you can, that on that are really into whatever niche of collecting that you're in. Like I've discovered that people like collecting baggies. I never knew that, man. But like there's a whole baggie, there's a whole like, people who just collect, who just
call
collect
them baggers.
Yeah. And the people who just collect the figures and the bubbles. I didn't know that, I didn't know that.
That's there's people that just only collect Boba Fett. Right?
Yeah,
like that's it.
Yeah.
Remember the guy we saw who just collected Wampas?
Yeah, Wampas.
He
just
had like
Wampas for days.
45 Wampas on his wall.
Yeah. And by the way, he's just like, the other day I was researching Wampas and I bought a Wampa. So, here's the deal about Wampas. And you're just like, holy crap.
What is up with Wampas?
What's up with these Wampas?
So I guess the two things, is focus your collection, get organized, and then 2, join as many communities as you can, because there's a focus, whatever focus you have, there's a Facebook group for it. There's a group for it,
Yeah.
That's pretty solid advice. Do you think you'll ever, it's going to require some more space, but do you think you'll ever get into like the play sets or the vehicles?
Well, I did buy a Jabba playset. I was going to buy Jabba and Salacious loose.
And you bought the throne, right?
I did. I bought everything. Yeah. And I paid $100. So let me see if you guys think this is a good deal. So I was looking in vintage toy shops, and I was looking online and everything like that. And the ones I was finding in the toy shops were, okay, but they were for 150, right? And the one I bought at auction, I bought it for 110, but it was in really great condition. Plus I got extra pieces for it, So what do you guys think about? It's in great condition. Like there's nothing missing, there's nothing broken. Paint's gone, Jabba's perfect, Salacious is perfect, no nose rub at all, nothing.
How do you feel about it?
I feel great about it.
Then it was a good purchase.
Well,
and what you're dealing with Andy and I is we got a 3-year spread, and there's been a lot of Star Wars in 3 years. So there's been, especially with Boba, Book of Boba, I think is drawing a lot more attention to Jabba's palace, aka his throne. I think we paid in the 70 to 80 range if you wanted a fresh mint. So I think
how long?
About 4 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The prices ever since the pandemic happened,
I think you're in good shape.
Shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're in good shape too, especially if the arms work and the tail flips around.
Everything works. Yeah.
And there's no like fading, and because sometimes you can have the head is one color and the torso is a different color. As long as you've got consistent color and Jabba still works, and you've got all of the parts to the hookah and the frog.
I think
container.
There's also a perceived value that should be taken into account. Meaning, if you see something and you're like, I'd pay $100 for that.
Yeah,
and it looks like you should pay $100. Then let's not mince over $10. Like, oh well, the real actual value is $90. Like pay the $100. And get what you want, especially from your perceived value. And sometimes being naive makes it easier. You just say, "This is awesome. I love it."
Right.
And if you actually comes into your house, and then don't tell them what you paid. Just be like, I have this amazing collection. So I think that's a really good, kind of collector quandary too. Is like if you're literally splitting hairs over $5 to $10 or $20 even on these vintage 40-year-old, toys. I know that we all have a budget in mind, and if you add enough 20s up, you can't buy the next figure. I get it, but sometimes you just kind of go, "That looks good," and it fits within my mental perception. So I'm okay with that, given your good research. Now, if you're going out and, like you said, with your first Gamorrean guard on card, and you're like, it's $1,000. Well, then no, that's not going to work. But if you understand,
in my head, it's $1,000.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Be careful. That's going to temper down real quick as you start collecting, steady. But yeah, I think that perceived value for a collector is sometimes okay. And the reason I apply that is because I have a perceived value on signatures that is far higher than what they're worth.
Yeah.
Like if I've got a signature from, Katie Sackhoff, my good friend Andy got for me, that thing's worth way more than whatever it's worth. I don't even know what it's worth, but I love it. I got Frank Oz. I got, David Prost. I don't care. It's all worth way more than what it is hanging on the wall. And when I come in and somebody walks into my room, which is right behind Andy, and I go, check this out. Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew. I don't care what they think it's worth. It's worth what it is to me.
Yeah.
My brain, So
I have it's a DVD box set that they gave away at the Directors Guild of America, signed by John Williams.
Oh,
I don't even know
$1 million.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to sell it, but it has a signature on it, and it's you can't buy it anywhere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's priceless. Which
that's priceless.
That statement means something. It means something. Meaning, there's no price you could offer me outside of my kids selling my estate that that makes this right for me. That's how I feel.
But to answer your question about the playsets, no, I'm not going to buy any playsets, at least on this run. So it's a long run. So I bought a Burger King glass on one of my shows. Yeah. And I told myself I can't do that anymore because it's not part of my collection run. So I have to finish the run before I can buy it.
Stay your goal. I get that. Stay your goal. If you don't, you'll become me. And me is terrible.
But it was a very nice Burger King glass.
You'll relax a little bit as you go on. Especially
you gotta drink out of something. So
exactly. Especially as the boxes start getting checked, you'll be like, I'll grab it. I'll pull that into the collection. Why not?
I mean, it's vintage.
Now you have to get an AT-AT. You got the AT-AT driver.
I got the AT-AT driver. I got 2 of them.
Yeah, you got to get an AT-AT. I have 2 AT-ATs. Why not have 3?
Yeah, I mean.
No, I think if I do buy a playset, it'll probably be the one with the Probot. I forgot the actual name of it.
Oh,
I didn't hear that.
It's a Hoth.
The Hoth Rebel set or something like that.
Yeah,
because I used to.
I
used to have that when I was a kid, and I think I traded it. I traded it to a friend for like a transformer,
Sure.
something like that. So
just like our good buddy G4 said that he took the vinyl capes off his Jawas because they look better.
They look better with the cloth on.
Love it. Love it.
Hey, a couple quick questions here, and we've got one little segment at the end of the show that we're going to do here. Left Coast Graphics asks, who's your favorite Kenner Star Wars figure, and why is it Hammerhead?
you know what? But so this is interesting because
that's funny.
That's Hammerhead. Hammerhead is a character that I've always dug, and here's why. You remember the movie E.T. when Elliot was playing with Hammerhead? Yeah. Ever since I saw that movie and him playing with Hammerhead, I was like, oh, I want a Hammerhead, and I could never find it in the stores.
I see.
So that's one of the figures that when I get it, I'm gonna be.
Isn't that interesting?
That's funny.
It's just a kid. It's a kid memory crinkle in your brain.
Yeah,
and you just have to fulfill it.
So who is your favorite figure? I know you said the AT-AT driver and the TIE pilot. Are those the 2 leaders, or is there a character?
Well, no. So my main grail. So let's talk about the grails, right? I'll just list them off really quick. So my main grail is mint on card Darth Vader from the 1977 one. So that's my grail because I love Darth Vader. So that's like probably the first mint on card that I'm gonna buy in this collection run. Right. If I can find one, I'll get that first.
I like how he says this collection run.
Yeah.
He's all in. This collection
he's
run.
Got the rest of his life.
He compartmentalizes it so he doesn't feel guilty about it. He's
exactly.
Like, in this run. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. I have to.
In episode 2, however.
Well, the figures that I get actually is this guy. And then, obviously the vinyl cape Jawa, that's my loose grail. But there's one that's kind of nerdy, and because it's so hard for me to find it. and I've bought about 3. So I've bought 3 purple smog Uggies because I thought they were blue, and I get them back home and I compare them to pictures, and I'm like, oh, they're not. So my mini grail is a blue smock Ugnaught.
Okay.
You gotta when you're the collector Padawan, you gotta start like really small on your grails.
With Ugnaughts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literal small.
Yeah.
You gotta start really small. So
are you going full briefcase with this, or are you good?
Full on briefcase, man. So you gotta start small when you're starting out on your collection.
Hold on.
You know?
That's great though.
Did he teach me something? Because there's a blue?
There's a blue and a purple. Yeah.
Well, I have the purple for sure.
Well, yeah, when I was doing research on it, I saw him carded as a blue and carded as a purple.
Do you have a purple?
I have
We
a
don't
purple.
have a blue. So now we have to open this door?
So
Why am I naive to this?
I don't know. I've got them both.
The Padawan. Now
You need to come over
now
more.
the Padawan. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, but that's my mini grill. I'm sorry if I went on a tangent, but I forgot.
No, that's good. It's
Hammerhead. So Hammerhead, yes.
I blame Left Coast. Yes.
I like Hammerhead because of ET.
I like
so
that.
yes.
Left Coast helped me out. Purple is just faded.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that. I like
And that's what I thought too.
We've
Yeah,
added a little more red, UV red. Comes
Yeah,
purple.
Maybe.
All
But
right,
if
we'll
I can
see.
find a purple, I'm getting the or the blue, I'm getting the blue.
So this is going to segue nicely into our last little segment here. And Joey, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No, it's been a lot of fun, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun, and we shall enjoy watching him progress.
Enjoy. I think we're ingrained now.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, buddy, I got like 4 things I'm going to send you immediately.
Oh, you're thinking that too?
I am. I know you are. Joe, you're going to get a Holochronicles care package.
Yeah. So our buddies at Red 5 Designs, Greg and Johnny, they this morning reached out to us. So they're in the UK, and they're like, hey, ask Joey if he knows about our book. And I know we talked briefly before we went on, and you are aware of it. And this is for you, Joey, as well as everybody within earshot of us. If you are a vintage Star Wars figure collector, whether it's 12-inch or 3 3/4 inch, whether it's droids and Ewoks or the first 12 or the last 17 or
The weapons.
yeah. If there is anything you ever wanted to know about vintage Star Wars figures, you need to get this book.
These boys are on it.
They're so on it. What started off as like a 350 to 400 page book is now at 500 pages of, I mean, it's substantial. It's awesome. And it's going to be available for just a little bit longer until they go to print.
Which they're pretty close to, by the way.
Yeah. Do we have a little graphic we can put up for?
Absolutely. Sorry. I'm doing 7 things, but yes, I'll get it.
No, like the little ticker, not the.
Oh, gotcha.
Put me down for 2 so I can put one on display and grade one.
There you go. That's how it's done right.
That's a great idea. I never thought about grading one of the books.
And what is it? And one just in case.
Yeah.
One to open, one to keep, and one just in case. There it is.
Yeah. So I highly encourage it. I'm glad you've heard of them, because the product that they will be coming out with is going to be, and I don't say this word lightly, it's going to be epic. And it's such an exhaustive, such a good resource for all collectors. Can't speak highly enough about it. People that listen to us know we are firm supporters of this Kickstarter. We believe in Greg and Johnny, and we cannot wait to have it in our hands, and hopefully your hands too.
Absolutely.
Because we have partnered with them, we do what's called the Red 5 Designs Toy Review, where we just talk about something in the Star Wars community, toy or collectible, figure, ship, playset. It could be kind of all over the place in what it is. Maybe you've never seen it before. Maybe you have. Maybe you'll learn a little something about it. But Josh, are we ready for that?
I'm doing my best. Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Do I need to kill more time?
No, you're doing awesome. We're there. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This is a Red 5 Designs toy review. What's going on? Toy review. I'm hitting the button. It's not working.
No, it's fun. Was there sound for that?
There it is.
All right. Josh, this is something out of your collection.
It is. It's unique. I find it to be very sexy.
Oh, do you?
This is a Rogue One exclusive deluxe figure set from a Disney store. The Disney store. I like it. Look, here's the deal.
How much did you pay for it?
I have no idea, and I don't care.
Oh, really?
All right? Because we've got all the main players back to back to back. We even stuffed Vader back in the left corner.
Yeah.
K2SO back in the right. We got a Death Trooper. We got a Shore Trooper. We've got Krennic looking like Krennic. What's up, Baze? What's up? What am I looking at here? That's what's this stupid Bowie? Bowie? Dang it, I forgot it. Bodhi. Bodhi. Yeah, Bodhi.
Chirrut Imwe.
Chirrut's there, and of course, Cassian, and our girl who doesn't get enough love. I mean, why not? She should have her own show, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what was she doing from the time that she
Saw Gerrera picked her up?
That Gerrera picks her up, and then she gets caught.
Yeah.
I think there's an episode there. Anyway, it's a cool setup. We haven't displayed anything from Rogue One ever.
No, this would be a first.
This is a very first. Hey, hold on, Joey. Jump in. Give a little sexy voice here, Joey. Go.
That's a really nice shadow trooper you got there.
Yeah, see? We knew Joey had it in him.
Oh, had a baby, Joey.
No, it's a cool set. They're all about, I mean, they're less than 3 3/4. They're kind of more statue display.
They have no points of articulation?
No articulation.
So they're little figure statuettes.
Little statues. I can't even spin them right now.
You can find these on Amazon or eBay for in the $20 to $30 range.
Yeah, you can get a little set of these. And so we don't always display the top end, the high priced. Sometimes we just display the cool, and you can buy them right now. That's a cool set. As a matter of fact, it's probably a set. Now, it's one that was hidden in a bin in Josh's bin collection. My bin collection is way better than my Star Wars collection. In a Josh's bin collection, and this might be a take it out of the box scenario because a little Rogue One display, a little nod. I don't know if they're better in the package than they are out. Joey, what do you think?
I kind of like them in the package.
Do you? They're displayed nicely. Good background.
They are displayed nicely. Yeah, they are. I'm kind of like a modern leave it in the package kind of guy.
What do you think about Vader? I mean, Vader obviously cameo in Rogue One, but they threw him in there, which I like. That's actually why I like it. Like, you can't look at this and be like, oh, we're missing so-and-so. It's really the entire cast.
See,
right?
to me, yeah, I'm a creative director. That's my day job. So I would have switched Vader to the center where the and then right behind Krennic and put the trooper, the beach trooper, short trooper where Vader is.
So you would have put Vader directly behind Krennic. I actually really like that take.
Yeah.
You know,
don't let your ambitions, don't choke on your ambition. Yeah, there it is.
So I kind of feel like too, like, all right, they dropped it in Vader for brief, like he was in just so briefly, but
he was the baddest Vader you've ever seen.
But for the climax of the movie, he was there, and I kind of think too, like, well, why wouldn't you also then put Grand Moff Tarkin?
I get that, but if you wanted to,
but these are Rogue Ones specifically.
That's why I'm targeting Vader as being almost the person that doesn't belong there, because if you were to take like the fresh cast of Rogue One, the cast that Rogue One introduced to us, the only one that we know is Vader.
Right. And well, how brilliant was the marketing when they did that movie? Because how many of us would go to the back to tank scene and freeze frame it and go frame by frame to see how much we can see of Vader inside that back to tank.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And that was probably the one reason I was so excited about Rogue One, is that it might give us some insight or backstory to Vader. You know?
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons why I wanted to go see it. Was because
or at the very end of like I think the very first trailer or commercial for it, you just saw the back of Vader's helmet.
Yeah.
Like reflecting off the red.
And then the big helmet of the friggin' the Tantive guys, you know, I mean, so all of a sudden you were called back to New Hope.
Yeah. Just boom. Bang. Oh, Vader's in this?
This is why I don't understand how anyone could knock on these Star Wars stories. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
All they are is fan service, and that's exactly what you should expect of them. And that's exactly what I got. It was awesome. So good. I don't get it. I don't get it, Joey. I don't get these complainers out there.
No, I dug Rogue One a lot. It's
100%.
It's actually a movie that's on my rotation, you know,
right?
Is Rogue One. I could watch that like once a week.
Yeah, I like watching Baze and Chirrut just go out. Like, I could watch that scene alone where he's just in the market talking to Jin, and he's just like, blah, 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 and he's like,
don't listen to this.
I want actually a Baze and, oh my God.
A buddy cop film.
Why do we not have a Baze and Chirrut like 21 Jump Street thing going on?
It was kind of like
Starsky and Hutch.
Like how Empire felt. I think is where like Irvin Kershner. I think Irvin Kershner would have loved directing like Rogue One because it's so character driven. You know
exactly.
Yeah. It is so character driven. Yeah.
Like every moment, you don't like special effects were what they were to keep up with Star Wars, but you wanted to hear from the characters.
Yeah, it's like
the opposite.
Yeah, it's like you know, when you watch Dirty Dozen and you start seeing the characters die at the end, you're like, oh, spoiler alert for Dirty Dozen. But you know, it's like when you start seeing them drop off.
Yeah.
Same thing with Rogue One. You start seeing characters, you know, do something.
But you kind of knew they were going to drop off, right? Like
but you
can't make it.
But you feel something for them at the end because you spent that whole time. It's so character. It's you're developing character the whole movie, and you actually care about these characters by the time something happens to them, whether it's good or bad.
Which to me is always like, I love you bringing Empire because I think it might have been the most character-driven Star Wars movie ever.
It's definitely as gritty as Empire.
That's where you learned about Luke. It's the only place you knew anything about Luke was Empire.
Right.
The only place, because he went in and saw Dad and he did all this stuff and he met Yoda and he was working hard. You didn't care about Luke in Star Wars other than he was the blonde-haired hero.
Yeah, because like the whole movie, Luke's by himself. Whole movie. He only sees Leia for a short second at the end. Yep. But that's it. It's like character driven on Luke, character driven on Leia, character driven on Han. Everyone's getting these character developments. That's the only reason why you care about them in Return of the Jedi.
That's why Jedi worked. Yep.
Yeah.
Boom. All right, Joey. We just became best friends.
All right. Hey guys, no, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on. And thanks for answering my my beginner questions. But it's something that
love them.
You know what I mean?
We encourage everyone. It's down at the bottom. Just look up
the Padawan
Collector on YouTube. You'll find it real quick. That's how I found it. The link is.
Also, the Padawan Collector on Instagram, and if you want to find him on Twitter, it's at Collector.
I think it's Padawan Collector. I think
Padawan at Padawan Collector. I was looking at Drew Teg's there for a second.
It's his chicken scratch on his manual notes. That's what I'm talking about here. No, I'm kidding. I love it.
No, but thanks guys for chatting with me. I had a lot of fun and just picking your guys' brains and just chatting Star Wars stuff is cool. I dig it.
Fun.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you guys. And
good luck. And we're in your corner now.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Now have the Holochronicles in your corner.
Anything you need, just let us know.
You don't know what that means. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about that guy. He's a machine. So be careful. Be careful.
Well, the questions are going to come.
Are you sitting on your wallet? Are you sitting on your wallet? Because this guy will help you find the deals and I
will send my list right after this episode.
Nice.
Oh, you got some people linking up already.
Yeah.
All right.
Subbed. You're gonna get a few subs from this group tonight. Sure.
Yeah. Go and binge watch and catch up. And then what I love is interaction with you guys. So leave comments. I'll answer anything. Guys, go to my it's mostly on my Facebook page where I post in real time the figures that I do have. I'll take pictures and then put them up there, so that way you don't have to wait for the episodes. You guys can just see what I'm.
I'll be subbing you on Facebook so I can follow you. So yeah,
right on.
Great. To everyone watching out there, thank you so much in the chat for joining us, staying with us. enjoying the Padawan collector. And make sure you share this. We know you do. Everyone in there, tell your friends, like, subscribe. Join us on Patreon for a cheeseburger a month if you'd like. And join the growing community on Discord, which is pretty fun right now. So, yeah. Right. Any final words there, Andy?
Well, we'd like to say, Joey, especially if you're a loose collector.
Yes, sir.
Go play with your toys.